Hi everybody, I'm gonna see if I'm actually live because my headphones have not been working. Perfect. Okay, so today is Vlogmas Day 8 and I haven't gone live in a while, and I'm gonna do our devotional. I have that, I should upload it. That is gonna happen today for Vlogmas Day 8, Proverbs 8, we're reading that. But I felt called to talk about baby mama culture, and there are two celebrity women that I wanted to talk about, and I want to just address it from an honest standpoint because I think, number one, we're afraid to say the truth. I think we're afraid to talk about the reality of it because we don't want to offend people and we don't want to seem like we're hating on particularly Black women. And so we really don't, people shy away from this topic because it's controversial and you don't want to be seen as a hater. But that's just what's sad, is like you can't tell the truth anymore without being called a hater. That's bad. But before I get started, I want to say that, of course, the term baby mama has kind of come from rap culture, which means it inherently applies to Black women because rap culture is often intertwined with Black culture. And so that term is often referred to for Black women and is not usually used with women of other races unless they are also their children are being abandoned by a Black man or a rapper or of some sort. But the truth is that a lot more women are becoming single mothers, and either by choice or not by choice. And, we can talk about coercive reproduction, we can talk about mate selection and all that, and I think those are all important conversations to have. But we have to also talk about the fact that it is normalized and praised and accepted because we're afraid to tell people the truth, and we don't want to be seen as being a hater for Black women. So the number of women who are choosing to have children on their own is rising. And even some people on my own feed, I was really shocked to see, like, personal friends, personal acquaintances are deciding to go through the process of sperm donors and the process of in vitro to have a baby because they're reaching that age where pregnancy is going to become geriatric. So after 35, you're considered a geriatric pregnancy, which I think is so antiquated, and like we got to change that. But so I've had people on my feed and who are just like going through that process now. So they're deciding to just have a baby because they want the experience of motherhood. And they do not have a partner to do that with. And a famous person that you guys all might know is like Ebony Williams. Ebony K. Williams is in the process of childbearing. She's in the process of going through IVF to have a child, and she is not married and she doesn't have a partner. I'm sorry? Okay. See ya. And so this is becoming increasingly popular. And I first want to talk about the truth about raising a child on your own. And we want to pretend like, so there's two camps. We have people who are saying, well, it's better to have one parent who is there and present than to have two parents who are, fighting, and it's a toxic environment. And that is 100% correct. But that's not the ideal. And so pretending like the ideal isn't to have two loving parents in the same place, raising the child together, giving them that balance of masculine and feminine, giving them that structure that they need, we know that from a psychological perspective, we know that from study after study that a two-parent home is best, a healthy two-parent home. And detractors will always say, well, there's so many two-parent homes that are not good. I'm like, the exception doesn't make the rule. The exception does not make the rule. And I feel like only in the Black community do we do that, where we're like, well, I grew up like this, and so now it's better to be a single mom. It's actually not. And we have to stop lying to ourselves about that fact. The fact of the matter is The ideal situation is that two parents are raising one or two, or like a family. That is the ideal situation. And that is what we have to actually go for. So I feel like it's because a lot of people feel like the ideal is unattainable, they're now going for the next best thing, which is maybe having a child on their own, maybe, you know, or whatever, and having their family raise the child. And whether we want to admit it or not, that's baby mama culture. Like the very idea of I do not have a spouse or I do not have a partner raising this child for me is baby mama culture. And I don't understand for the life of me, and you guys, like, I'm going to get to the ladies in a second. For the life of me, I do not understand why you would wish the extreme burden of raising a child on your own. Why would you would want that for yourself, and why you would opt for that for yourself and for your child? Because your child will be missing an essential part of growing up. And the fact that we're like afraid to talk about that is problematic. The child will be missing an essential part of their development if there is not another male, masculine energy person there to support. Like, children do best when there are two people raising the child together. And as a teacher, you guys know I was a teacher for 12 years. And I would, you know, students tell teachers things that they would never tell their parents. Still the case right now. I work with a lot of athletes. They tell me things they would never tell their parents. A lot of them will say, I wish I knew my father. My mom is doing a great job, but I wish I knew my dad. And I'm angry that I do not know my father. And these are my students who eventually, some of them were convicted of murder, you guys. Like, because I worked in some rough neighborhoods. I wish I knew my father. I wish my father, you know, was more present. These are the things that they're saying to us as teachers and to other people, or that with their narrative that's running through their mind. So to pretend like that's not like part of this conversation is really disingenuous and foolish. And the other detracting statement that happens to come up is that, well, you just hate on Black women, and not all Black women are baby mothers. We know that's true. I love Black women, and I love, okay, let me just say this. If anybody's going to raise a baby as a single mom, and it's going to do a good job, it's going to be Black women. Just purely because of the level of excellence that we hold within ourselves. So can I get that out of the way? Doesn't mean that we should do it. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, I think if anybody is going to be a single mother, it should be a Black woman, because we just have a level of excellence that other people tend to not necessarily have. And that's just me loving Black women. Like, I just think we're great. I just think we're excellent. I think we're amazing women. We have raised this entire community. And we are the ones who are mothers and going to school and, you know, handling business and starting businesses and thriving in these businesses and making excessive amounts of money. You know, let's call it what it is, right? But it's still not good. It's still not good. Even though we can do it well, that doesn't mean we should do it. And Black women do single motherhood very well a lot of the times. We make sure we have the resources for our children. We're the ones who are working 2-3 jobs, making $300,000 a year, and making sure our kids are in private schools. If, you know, we're doing that, but that doesn't mean it's good for the kid. Right? And so there is a point that we have to be honest about what the culture is saying. So I first want to talk about Naomi Osaka. I think when I heard that she was pregnant, I was devastated for her. I really, really was, because of course women can bounce back. Like, we can bounce back from anything, right? But we're not meant to stop our careers and in the middle of it drop everything and have a baby with a man who wasn't that invested. How do I say this? We have got to stop having babies with whomever. So Naomi Osaka is this multi-millionaire athlete with a lot of potential ahead of her, and she goes and dates Corday. Who is Corday? Who is he? What track record of character does he have? On like a very serious note, what track record of character does he have? What kind of person is he? And I still will never understand letting someone, creating a child with someone who's not willing to marry you, who's not willing to commit to you. That's really what the issue is here. It's that these women are choosing baby daddies, like fathers, for their children. And I don't even think that they're thinking, and I'm going to get to that later when we talk about solutions. I don't think that these women are thinking. They're not thinking, how do I select someone who's a good father? They're just thinking, oh, he's cute, because like they're young. When I was younger, I was like, oh, is he cute? Does he have swagger? Is he, that's what I was thinking about. And I'm sure Naomi was like, he's in the industry. Okay, this is pretty good because at least he's not some rando off the street who doesn't, understand, popularity. But she chose a rapper who then broke up with her after she had the baby. And now she's a single mother. And she does not, is he in the baby's life? Is he seeing the, last time I checked, he was doing interviews. Is he actually, in like spending time with the child? We don't know. And so for someone like Naomi, who had her whole life ahead of her, who was a role model for young girls, and she is a role model for young girls, to then go and get pregnant by a rapper who we don't know what his character is. What we do know about him is that he was not willing to marry her. He was willing to lay down with her and have a child with her, but not marry her. And now she's suffering the consequences of both of their actions. And for us to sit here and not say, and not be honest about how this is tragic, we're lying to ourselves. Her life is never going to be the same. And I don't know if that baby was planned or if it wasn't, but it seemed like with a lot of these girls, I don't know if it's planned. We don't know if it's planned. And it almost, if it was planned, it'd be worse, because why would you plan to have a baby with someone who hasn't demonstrated the character that he's going to stick around for a long time? And I don't want to be one of those people who's like, marriage is everything, like, but that is the ideal situation. Like the actual ideal situation is for a man to love a woman so much and to be committed to a woman so much. But, sorry, your comment threw me off guard. So the ideal is that a man is like, I love this woman so much, I want to be committed to her so much, that if I do have a child with her, I want to make sure the child knows that I love this woman and care about this woman, and this child has a vision and a view of what's healthy in a relationship. That is the kind of situation that I want these girls to be in, right? I know this is going to be pessimistic, but don't you think marriage is outdated for a secular society like America? I don't think that God is ever outdated. But I think what you're trying to say is that we are no longer wired, or we are no longer seeking healthy relationships. This generation doesn't know how to define love or marriage, and everything is subjective. I agree with you. I think that's why we're in the situation that we're in now. Now we're afraid to say that this is wrong. We're afraid to say that this isn't ideal. We're afraid to say that being a baby mama is not the ideal situation. It is not good. Like the definition of good and evil has changed. It is not good for a mom to purposefully go out and create a child with a man who is going to leave her, or to purposefully create a child with a man who is abusing her. And that's not good. That is not okay. And so I hear what you're trying to say, that because we are in this predicament where we don't have parameters around what's good and what's moral, what's right. Yeah, I think it's going to be hard in a society like the United States. I think it's worldwide, honestly, where marriage is not a priority. Because, and I mean, if 50% of marriages are ending in divorce, then yeah, people are going to feel, you know, a certain kind of way about marriage. But I think our definition of what a good marriage is and how to deal with marriage has also, I don't think people value it in the same way they used to, and I don't think people know how to be married. If I'm being honest, I don't think that. So if in a society where people don't know how to be married, of course they're going to steer away from that. But I think that what's a struggle for me with this baby mama culture is it's not just that these girls and women are getting with men and then these men are, you know, leaving them and having babies. It's the kind of men that they're also getting with. It's not like they're going out and having a baby with a CEO of a company who has a moral compass of a saint who is thinking, okay, well, if we're going to have this baby, like, let's make sure that the baby has the same home to live in and that we're really taking care of it. They're not marrying, they're not having babies with men who have fatherhood mindsets. Like, she got with a rapper, and most rappers do not have fatherhood mindsets. The only one I can think of is Ludacris, and Ludacris is not doing anything. He's raising his family. So when it's like, it's not like she went and married a Ludacris or went and had a baby with a Ludacris. She had a baby with Corday, who, by the way, his net worth is $3 million and hers is like 43 million. And it's not, I'm not talking about the money. I'm talking about the mindset. When you have a lot more to lose, you think about life differently. And these women, these girls or women are choosing, and I keep saying she's a girl because to me, you're young. These girls are young. And to go and then go after someone who is not at your level, who doesn't have as much to lose, who doesn't have as much value, who doesn't have as much of a role model, is not as much of a role model in the community, and then to go have a baby, like, that is tragic. That is tragic. The other one is Kiki Palmer. People were so afraid to talk about the decision for her to make a baby. And I think that was a poor decision. And it was especially poor because of the man that she chose to have a baby with. And again, we have to ask ourselves, why is this the option that girls are choosing? Why is this the method that we're going to? Why isn't it that these young women are going, okay, I want a baby. I want to protect my wealth, so I don't want to marry someone. And of course, I'm a Christian, so I believe in marriage. I believe in finding someone who is at your level and who has the same values that you and marrying them. But that's not the culture we're in. So why is it that they're not saying, okay, I want to get married, I want to have a baby, and instead of digging into the trash and finding some random cute guy who later turns out to be a wife, and then saying, okay, I'm going to have a baby with him because he was abusive to her before she had the baby. So the question is, what is going on in our minds culturally where we're still willing to have a baby with someone who is not at our level, who is not good enough for us? Okay, I meant people in the West are not raised to be husbands or wives. Lastly, lots of these women are not picking the right guys. I don't think people in the West are raised to be husbands and wives anymore because I think the culture is, what is it called? Degenerate. It's becoming degenerate. But I do think that so I'm hesitant to hesitate and classify people altogether. Like, there are plenty of men who were raised to be husbands and plenty of women who were raised to be wives. I think it's hard to find that, but if you really want to find those people, you will find them. There are lots of women I know who are marriage-minded women, and I think when men make comments like no one's raised to be a wife or husband, it's like, okay, baby, but you got to also look in the right place. Okay. Lots of these women are not picking the right guys because of sexual encounters blinds the mind and focus on spiritual aspect. I don't even think it's that. I think no one's ever told them how to choose a man. No one has ever told them this is how you make a good. These are the conversations that are not happening in our community. We do not sit down with girls and have explicit conversations on the checklist of how to get a man, a good one, or what things you need to do and what things you need to be looking for. We do not do that in our culture. And because we do not do that in our culture, you leave the door open for all kinds of foolishness to come in. And I think it's this. We do a really good job, especially with Black women, of focusing on getting educated and getting, being successful. I mean, if you look at, again, Naomi, successful tennis player, Kiki Palmer, excellent actress, phenomenal singer, excellent on Broadway. So we do a really good job of raising our girls to be amazing at what they do, successful at what they do, but we don't teach Black girls how to value themselves. And because of that, we by default open up the door for baby mama culture. Because when a girl values herself, she's not letting any Tom, Dick, and Harry, no pun intended, just slide on by. She's not going to do that. But we don't teach girls how to choose and vet men properly. And so they become successful, they have everything they want in the world, they are making all this money, and they want a baby, and they want a family, and they become just like the rest of us. Just like the rest of us. Because I wasn't taught how to select a healthy man. No one told me that. I had to go read it in a book and hire coaches. Now there's all these women on YouTube who are telling Black girls, like, this is how you select, marry before you carry, make sure and of course the caveat is when you marry, make sure you marry someone who is a high quality man with the understanding that you can vet and vet and vet and vet and vet, and all of a sudden, sometimes it doesn't work out. And this has to be taught by families. This has to be taught by parents. This has to be, and that's why I said it's a culture, right? Baby mama culture is a cultural wide phenomenon in the Black community, especially, although it is expanding because as I said at the beginning of the video, both, white women are also becoming of the fastest growing rate of single mothers as well. So it's a culture where it's not just Black anymore. It's just everybody. A lot of people are deciding, well, I don't need to marry to have a stable home for my kid. And we know that Black families are often single parent households, and we know that a lot of people are single parent households. But even being a single parent, you can teach your child, hey, this is how you select. And there are so many women and men and couples on YouTube teaching people how to select, because they see also the same thing that I'm seeing, which is there is a hole. There is a gaping hole, a vacuum where people are missing out on how to find and how to create healthy relationships. And so we live in a world that is full of information. And there are families, there are cultures, groups of people who are not Christian, who have successful marriages. And what the difference is that they're teaching their girls explicitly, and their men. And that is a key point that we don't want to talk about. In these cultures where marriage is uplifted and valued, the men are taught also as young boys what to value in a woman. And the women are taught what to value in a man. So it's actually a dual situation. So in these cultures where you don't see a lot of baby mama-ism, that's because the men are taught you don't create babies and not take care of them. That's the truth. Is that in cultures where divorce is smaller, in cultures where there are not a lot of baby mamas, The men are taught also not to sleep with women and create babies with women and then abandon them. That men are shamed for doing that in that culture, in those cultures. And that's the biggest difference, is that we are going to have to make a generational shift where there's going to have to be a collective effort to reshape what it means to be a Black woman. And I agree with you. It's going to take 3 to 4 generations, because even media is in on it. If you see someone talking about Kiki Palmer, it's, oh, she's a wonderful mother. Of course, they're going to praise her. And listen, she probably is a great mother. And I'm so happy that her baby is healthy and happy. But I'm extremely sad that that baby's father is a hot mess and belongs in jail. And I'm so sad that he is not a healthy man. And I'm so sad that if the Ashanti rumors are true and she's having a baby with Nelly, who has an open rape case against, I am so sad that she has chosen to have a baby with a man who will not commit to her and will not even call her his girlfriend. And if Hallie, I think DDG is her baby daddy, he has a violent past, violent history. And she chose to have a baby with that man. And so we have to ask ourselves, what's going on in the culture where the girls are choosing these kinds of men? And what's going on in the culture that these men are being perpetuated and are repopulating the earth? Where are the men to hold these men accountable? Where are the men to check these men? Because in cultures where men and women are not having this baby mama-ism, the men are also checked. They are shunned, they're banished for acting like this. So where is the accountability for the men to not dip and dive into everything that they see and then spread their little seed around and then walk away? Where's the culture? Where is that? Where's the accountability for that? It's in our culture. It's in the culture to do that. They say good men finish last, but for me, I never felt the need to be like other men if I'm focused on God. Yeah, I think the whole thing about good men finish last is it's true, but that's because women and girls have not been taught how to properly select mates. You know, they don't know how to properly select mates. But again, there's plenty of women that I know, hundreds of women actually, who I know who are marriage-minded women who are seeking healthy men and do not care about certain aspects of them. They don't care if he has swag or they just want someone who is going to be loving, who is marriage-minded, someone who is, looking to be a husband. And so there's hundreds of women, but you do have to search for them. I think the other thing, when people start making comments like, oh, these women are like this, men are like this, I'm like, okay, we've been watching too much internet. Because in real life, if you're actually on the ground, there's lots of women who are healthy. And there's lots of men who are healthy, who want to have a healthy relationship. And you just have to know where to find them and how to vet them. But these young girls are not taught that. And so here we are, we got Naomi, baby mama. Kiki, baby mama. Hallie, baby mama. Ashanti, baby mama. It's like, because women are not taught to value themselves enough, and men are not taught to value women enough to not go dipping and diving and sprinkling their seed and then leaving. That's the real cultural problem. And then, this is where you guys are gonna get mad at me. Baby showers. Oh, this is so great. Da, 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 da. It's so amazing. You know, oh, I'm so happy for you. Baby showers and baby showers, baby showers. And I do not want to ever demonize people. But baby, we praise single motherhood more than we praise marriage, more than we praise selecting a good mom, a good husband. So what do you expect? What do you expect? And the feminists will say, you go girl, you know, you hate women, she's allowed to have a baby, da 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 da. She is. You're right. You're right. You're allowed to do that. We live in the United States. Thank God we live in the United States. You are right. She is allowed to. But is it the best thing for the child? And is it the best thing for her? Why would you pass on the DNA of a convicted ist? Why would you pass on the DNA of a wife beater? Why would you pass on the DNA of a person who is going to abandon you after you have a baby? Why would you pass on that kind of DNA? That's the question. Because women are not taught to select, and women are not taught to have enough self-esteem to say no. We want to be loved more than we want to be right. And I get it. I when I tell you I get it, I understand it. Doesn't make it right. Doesn't make it right. And people will say, stay out of her womb. I'm not in her womb. I'm worried about that baby. I'm not in her womb. Because everything's fun and games until you're raising a human. I saw a post the other day that says, everybody wants a baby, but not everybody wants to raise an adult. And that's the piece. That baby doesn't know any different, really. Doesn't really know any different that father's not going to be there. Doesn't really know any different. And then it will grow up. And it will realize that someone abandoned them and abandoned their mother. And that baby will grow up with a lot of hate and disdain and is likely to repeat the same thing over. So it is cultural, it's generational, it's genetic. I don't think it's just on the women. I think that's so unbiblical though to put it on the women, because men are supposed to be leaders. Men are supposed to lead the community. That's their job to fix it. And of course women have to follow, but men have to lead and fix. That's to say that women need to fix something is to call women leaders, but you can't call women to fix something and then ask them to submit. Like that's not how that works. Right? So I think it's going to take two people. It's going to take everybody to work together to fix that. I will never just say, well, women need to do this. Now the men need to gather these men together too, but the men are not ready for it. You know, and I think we can go into like ins and outs of houses. Yes, masculinity, manhood is marginalized 100%. But somehow, some men tend to still do it. And so there's always going to be some sort of like battle, right? And so we still have to try. Because it's a very defeatist mindset for men to say, well, women are in control now, so we're just going to step back. And like that's not going to be the solution. you're right. Like a lot of men are absolutely marginalized. They are. But a lot of men are also not willing to change. That's what I've seen. They do not want to change. They're not willing to do what it takes to change. And my question is always, for myself too, if I found myself running into a certain type of man, I would ask myself, what am I reflecting? Why am I choosing that kind of man? And so if a man is constantly running up against women who are like, don't mansplain to me, then it's like, okay, you're connecting with the wrong women. So go connect with a woman who wants to learn, who wants to hear, who wants to listen, probably in a church. It's probably not going to be at your job. It's probably not going to be on a dating site. I hate to say it, but it'll probably be in a church. And churches are 80% women now. So, I think there's solutions other than to say that women just need to fix this, because then that perpetuates the idea that women are just these leaders and men are being pushed aside. So it's like, okay, at some point, men have to raise their children. Men have to come in and raise their children. Because women can stop having babies. They can. But men still have to raise their children. And I actually agree that women need to just close those legs. I really do. But I think that but I still think that men have to do what men need to do. And I get it. I am tired. I'm tired. I am tired. And I have my own life to live. But I do think this is a cultural problem that we'll need to fix. Anyway, you guys, I gotta go. I need to go get another phone, a business phone. So I'm going to go run out and run some errands. And then I've got to actually come back and do the devotional for today. That's Vlogmas Day 8. I was supposed to do a devotional. Maybe I won't. I don't know. Maybe I'll do it another day. But I was supposed to do Vlogmas Day 8. And then I've got to upload a couple more videos for you guys. I'm doing a video on the adultification of girls. And it was really interesting to see. Like, I'm going to be talking about how if you watch Beyonce's daughter dance and her outfits versus Madonna's daughter dance and her outfits, it was kind of crazy, the stark difference. You should just do a quick Google. I'm going to talk about that and how, just how we're adultifying girls. And that also, the adultification of girls has so much to do with this topic because, it's like when you can have a baby, they're expected to just go through life very quickly. And when you're not allowed to be a kid and you're not allowed to experience things, you don't grow in the same way. So anyway, that's it for today's video, you guys. If you enjoyed this, please do not forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.